This is Michael Popok with a Legal AF hot take. Law and politics sometimes make strange bedfellows. And we're watching it with Donald Trump, who has decided that if he can't beat it, bad publicity, that he'll join it and that he'll use as part of his campaign the actual criminal trials against him any way he can. He's been left with little or no choice, but now he's going to implement what the New Yorker magazine has referred to as a savvy media strategy, directed primarily by Cheung, in order to maximize his quote-unquote ratings, approval ratings, and money grift by making himself out to be, of course, the victim. He's being the victim of the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, claiming that the Biden administration is after him. This is all going to come to a head. And I want this to be a little bit of a viewing guide for the trial that starts in the business record fraud cover-up case, criminal case that starts led by the Manhattan DA's office against Donald Trump. There's 34 state felony counts that are against Donald Trump, 34 felony counts. And when they're combined together in the right combination, it totals up to an E-class felony. Now, let me be clear and not blow smoke or sunshine. That's not high up on the felony chart. It's E. Felonies start with A. And so, does the conviction of Donald Trump matter? Absolutely, if that is what the jury decides based on the facts as the law is instructed to them by Judge Merchan. If he's cleared by a jury, I'll come on and talk about what the evidence showed and why the jury may have cleared him. I just don't see that happening. I see the overwhelming weight of the evidence and the witnesses that are going to parade and are arrayed against Donald Trump as being overwhelmingly in favor of the prosecution. Just as this same prosecution team, including Josh Steinglass, who leads the team, got a 17-0 conviction against Donald Trump's organizations for tax fraud just 2 years ago. But I would also be remiss if I didn't give you a viewer's guide. Here's what we're going to see, because this is part of the media strategy, the split screen that Donald Trump is implementing. He's going to be in the courtroom because he's got a very small ability to miss trial days. There is some instruction that the judge can give and he can let him out of the courtroom. But generally speaking, Donald Trump is going to have to be in the courtroom all the days of the criminal trial. Here's the viewer guide. Trial of this case is going to be every day but Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is dark for the trial. And there's no trial, of course, on the weekends. Donald Trump will have to combine his arrivals and departures, because those are the only places that are going to be potentially televised, in makeshift press conferences. This is not a trial that is televised, nor is the audio released. I know there's a fair amount of people out there, including some of the MeidasTouch network, who think everything needs to be televised. The American people need to see the evidence. I don't totally buy that, especially when you get somebody who wants to use for free campaign fodder the trial itself. We've never seen a person that said, if you can't beat him, join him. Any publicity is good publicity. I don't care if I'm being tried as a pedophile. I'll be on the nightly news every day. That's Donald Trump. And so I'm sort of relieved that this trial is not being televised. We've seen what happens, like, for instance, in Georgia, where all the trials and all the proceedings are being televised on YouTube. And we do them here at the MeidasTouch Network because it is news and we do want to do commentary on it. But we see what happens. We see how the lawyers pander to the audience and they start acting out in theatrical ways that they wouldn't do it if it was closed door and with the judge. I saw this as a young lawyer, of course, in the O.J. Simpson case, which was then the case of the century, and how I don't think televising it, although very interesting and definitely must-see TV at that time, and changed the face of reality TV, court TV. There was no court TV until that really happened. And a number of legal commentators who you hadn't heard of before became famous off of the O.J. Simpson trial. So I get it had an impact on our culture and pop culture, but I don't think for the benefit of the legal process. And could you imagine Donald Trump being able to parade around inside a courtroom, have that televised as part of his campaign? He would cut clips of that every day and post it for his followers and in his attempt to raise money. He can't do that, so he's going to do what we saw him do the last time he was in federal court for the E. Jean Carroll case. He's going to show up every day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. There's going to be a makeshift press conference. They're going to plant reporters from MAGA right-wing news organizations to throw softballs at him. He's going to give a combination of press conference, campaign rally. He's going to say crazy and disgusting things against the judge, the criminal justice system, Joe Biden, Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA. And to the extent the gag order allows him to do it, the outer edges of it, he'll try to attack as best he can witnesses like Michael Cohen, even though he's not allowed to do that by gag order. And he'll risk contempt as a result. Then at the end of each day, we'll add breaks. There'll be lunch breaks. So there'll be a second. We'll get 3 helpings, even though we don't want them, of Donald Trump every day of the trial. Morning, noon, and right at the end as he leaves. Every day, 4 days a week. Wednesdays, he's going to be free, so he's going to maximize that with rallies and everything else. He's going to talk about what happened in the courtroom at these rallies to the extent he can without running afoul of the gag order. And then on the weekends, of course, he's going to cram in a schedule there. But what we're watching is that Donald Trump has embraced him being a criminal defendant and acting like he's persecuted and crucified by the Biden administration as his platform, or his platform for his campaign, rather than be embarrassed or chased, right? Or in any way inhibited by the fact that he's a criminal defendant. He's going to embrace it and revel in it and act tough around it. And this is what we're going to see. That's why I wanted you to have a viewer's guide so you know what to expect. I mean, we'll do it closer to it. And I am glad that he doesn't have all the oxygen that he wants and all the gasoline for the fire that he wants with having this thing televised. I don't think, given this particular defendant, that is helpful to democracy. Giving him free gavel-to-gavel cable news and social media coverage by being inside the courtroom. Bon Charge is a holistic wellness brand with a huge range of evidence-based products to optimize your life in every way. Founded on science and inspired by nature, all Bon Charge products adopt ancestral ways of living in our modern-day world. Their extensive range of premium wellness products help you sleep better, perform better, have more energy, recover faster, balance hormones, reduce inflammation. I mean, the list is endless. My favorite product from Bon Charge is their infrared sauna blanket. Having a personal infrared sauna blanket, it's a game changer. Now, instead of trying to find out if my local gym has it, I just set it up in a minute in my bathroom or bedroom for an amazing healing treatment in the privacy of my own home. The sauna blanket works by raising heart rate to that of physical exercise, so it burns calories while you relax. You can burn up to 600 calories in just one session. Sweating helps flush out heavy metals and other toxins, and the infrared heat elevates your heart rate while relaxing, which releases endorphins and can leave you feeling euphoric after your session. It works by using infrared light, which heats the body directly, rather than the air around you like a traditional sauna. This means you get the same benefits at a lower heat, and you also don't have to have your head in the heat like a traditional sauna. Enjoy a session for 30 to 40 minutes while relaxing, reading, watching TV, meditating, whatever. I've tried other products, but they simply don't work nearly as well as Bon Charge. Bon Charge infrared sauna is easy to clean up, it heats up quickly, it's super simple to use, and the lightweight design makes it perfect. Bon Charge ships worldwide in rapid time and has free shipping on every sauna blanket with no hidden costs. And it comes with 12-month warranty. Go to boncharge.com/legalaf and use coupon code LegalAF to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/legalAF and use coupon code LegalAF to save 15%. Now, Judge Rashad is going to have his hands full because unlike other judges, he's got a jury to worry about. Judge Lou Kaplan in federal court did a very good job in the E. Jean Carroll case twice in protecting the jury. The jury was anonymous. We didn't know much about the jury, neither did Donald Trump or his lawyers, and he wasn't able, of course, to bash them or attack them in real time or at any time in the selection process. Judge Ang Goran, by contrast, did not have a jury. His trial for the New York civil fraud case was a bench trial, meaning the judge was the finder of fact in the case and rendered the ultimate decision, or what we call the decision in order, in New York. He was bashed mercilessly by Donald Trump as part of the campaign, not just a campaign against the criminal justice system and his case, his presidential campaign, right? Joe Biden's name was mentioned as much in the bashing as Judge Ang Goran's name was mentioned. And when all else failed and he needed to gin up more support, he would then attack, he'd create a new demon or boogeyman or golem in the form of the principal law clerk for Judge Ang Goran or Judge Ang Goran's wife. Just as he's doing with Judge Merchan, with Judge Merchan's daughter, who's now become, public enemy number one for MAGA. And he does that, of course, as part of his campaign. It's not separate and apart. It's a part of his campaign. And Stephen Cheung, the 41-year-old Asian American who's been with Donald Trump for the last several years, but moved into the inner sanctum in the last year or so, and is basically his go-to spokesperson. Don't be fooled. The New Yorker magazine did a nice profile about this. The Trump organization, the Trump media and Trump campaign has very good working relationships with the mainstream media. Let me repeat that. Mainstream media and reporters and beat reporters like talking to Stephen Cheung as he gives them quotes. And I'm sorry, but in journalism, they still live by the adage, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's bloody and messy, then put it on the front page. And so they like the crazy statements that Stephen Cheung makes. When Stephen Cheung says that Joe Biden looks like a misprogrammed Roomba who can't figure out how to get off the stage, or when he posts on his social media that Biden's diaper is full during a speech, the media might chuckle, but they write about it and they report on it. And despite what you might think, the relationship between the Trump people and the mainstream media and reporters is probably slightly better than what the Biden organization and the Biden campaign has with reporters. It's not that the reporters don't maybe sympathize with the Biden campaign from a political standpoint. And this would explain what we're watching, which is this, we can't figure out this anomaly. They attack the mainstream media as being primarily Democrats and liberals. Why are they constantly doing bad press against the Biden administration at every turn and being hypercritical of the Biden administration and Kamala Harris and all of that, and not doing the same thing for the criminality and immorality and lack of ethics of Donald Trump? Why? One of the reasons might be what we hadn't considered, which is the media likes the Trump people and likes the quotes and the sound bites they get for them. By contrast, the New Yorker magazine article that I just finished reading said that the Biden administration has very thin skin and according to the main beat reporters, can't take a punch, that they get offended by every little criticism in a big or small, mainly small and picayune, that's reported. And they don't pick their battles. And that pisses off the reporters. They're like, really? Every time we do something that's slightly critical, you have to tell us, but we're for reproductive rights of women. Like, we got that. But you can't use that argument every time you get some legitimate criticism against you. Whereas, by contrast, the Trump organization takes their criticism, like they're eating their broccoli. And doesn't blow up at the reporters over it. See, that's counterintuitive to me, but that is what the reporting is. And Stephen Cheung is leading the way on that. And I just want to credit the New Yorker reporter for this, because I do think it combined with some other things that I've seen that I put together myself sort of explains a lot. And the reporter for this is Claire Malone. So if you then stitch this together and connect the dots, Stephen Cheung and Donald Trump have good, not bad relationships with the mainstream media. And I don't mean the right-wing MAGA media. I mean the New York Times, Huffington Post, CNN, and the MSNBC and the like, which would explain some of the mismatch in reporting that we've been seeing. And now we're seeing Donald Trump, of course, just folding in and knitting in and integrating his criminal jeopardy problems into his campaign in a way that we've never seen before. and using it, and speaking of weaponization, weaponizing it as part of his campaign. You go after me, we're going to go after you and try to knock your effing teeth out. That's the approach of the Trump campaign and the Trump people. And they're like, all right, free news time every day during this 6-week trial. I assure you, even though it's about 34 felony counts, it's about fraud by Donald Trump, election interference in the 2016 election, every day, the lead story, except on the MeidasTouch network, is going to be Donald Trump's 3 press conferences a day for 4 days a week, 12 press conferences a week, and campaign events, if you will, while he's a defendant. He's almost like, you want me to be in New York every day and sleep in my own bed and get my own home cooking? Happy to. And so the challenge is going to be for mainstream media to kind of like take a half a step back. You don't have to televise every press conference that he does impromptu, every set of softball questions led by, MAGA reporters, or without a script at all, Donald Trump just talking extemporaneously and rambling on in a word salad of attacks against everybody, Obama, Biden, confusing people, whatever it is. You don't have to cover all of it. It's not news. I guess what I'm trying to say is that's not news. The fact that I'm able to talk about it right now, 3 weeks before it happens, sort of tells you it's not news. If I can so accurately predict what Donald Trump is going to do at any given moment during the 4 days a week of trial for 6 weeks, that can't be news. That has to be a campaign strategy of co-opting the mainstream media to his benefit. And we have to be mindful of it, right? And we have to call it out and say it's transparent. I get it. Here he goes again. He's up on the soapbox. He's up on the campaign stop. I almost want him not to be in the courtroom and let him do his rallies, because at least mainstream media stopped covering his rallies a long time ago. Now, I'm not here to bash all of mainstream media and all reporters, but I am here to explain the close and cozy relationship, right? They are the consumer of the crap products that are being produced by the Trump assembly line, led by the factory foreman, Stephen Cheung. And we got to call it out and say the emperor has no clothes. And the viewing guide that I'm giving you of what to expect at that trial for that 6-week period, I think it'll help kind of gird you for what's coming and prepare you for it. So we'll continue to follow it. Look, we are going to follow the trial and criminal justice being done against Donald Trump. And we'll report on, all days, good days for Donald Trump, bad days for Donald Trump. Not every day is going to be a terrible day for Donald Trump. There's going to be a witness. I don't know which one, but I will tell you now, there will be a witness that the prosecution thinks is terrific, who's going to, there's a legal term for this I'm about to use, is going to defecate in the bed. Okay? I don't know which one it is. I have a few that I think will do it. There's going to be some rough days. When I'm a trial lawyer, we call those days, put on your hard hat. We got incoming. Here we go. Witnesses you thought were going to be amazing, crap the bed. And witnesses you thought were going to be white knuckle for you. Like, oh, I wonder how we need this fact out. I got to put the person on, but wonder how it's going to go. Turn out to be hitting home runs and everything in between. And so, in the fog of war, all plans are lost. And in the fog of litigation, like war, your best laid trial strategy, you got to be ready to adjust on the fly and pivot on the fly. And that's what we're going to watch. So while we'll follow that and we'll explain motion practice that's happening and jury issues that's happening and, the openings and the closings and the witnesses and how overall the case is going for the prosecution or for the defense. But we're not going to cover the press conferences and the rallies and the talking points and the canned attacks, because that's counterproductive. The good news is, to the extent that polling at this early stage, a year and a half from the election, can be trusted at all, is that there is a sliver of American electorate that will jump off the Trump bandwagon and will refuse to vote for him. These are the fence sitters. It's hard to believe there are any, if he is convicted of any of these 34 counts. even if it doesn't mean he's going to serve real jail time because of the way Class E felonies work in New York. And and in a game of inches, in an election of inches, a sliver that says we're out. That was a bridge too far. I can't support Donald Trump. He's a convicted criminal. That could mean the difference between Joe Biden being reelected and the restoration of the Trump imperial presidency. And so it's important that we continue to sit here on the MeidasTouch Network at the intersection of law and politics. I'll do it right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF, our podcast. Yes, the title means exactly what you think. At the intersection of law and politics on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on this YouTube channel and then on audio podcast platforms of your choice. You like this kind of content, my kind of analysis, lawyers talking about things they know what they're talking about? How refreshing. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. It signals to the algorithmic gods that you want more of this, not less. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstallenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Meidas Mighty. Let's use our power well.